How's it going, everybody? So today I'm bringing you an update of my 40-gallon planted tank. This is the tank that I had to reseal, and then I set it up and I put dirt in it, covered it with a sand cap, and then I planted it. And I think this is the last video I made, was kind of what it looked like after I'd initially planted it. So it's been a while since I posted a video. I apologize for that. I'm going to try to start getting a couple more updates in. So I thought I would start with this tank because this tank is really starting to fill in now. I have all sorts of plants in this tank. I'll kind of go over a few of those. I'll go over the fish first. I don't really have many fish in this tank yet. I'm trying to figure out what I want in it. I kind of want it to be a community tank slash shrimp breeding tank, which, if any of you have ever done that before, you realize it's kind of a difficult task. So right now I have in 4 hatchet fish. They're 4 marbled hatchet fish, and they're over on the left side of the tank right now at the surface. They're pretty hard to see. And then I also have in a small mosquito fish. I use some mosquito fish to help cycle the tank initially. And also in here I have somewhere around 10 adult cherry shrimp. You can see a couple. I'll try to zoom in here. So there's a couple next to each other on the driftwood there that I have. I have about 10 adult cherry shrimp, and then I also have 5 tangerine tiger shrimp, and those are a little more secretive. They don't really come out as much. I think my problem is the temperature of the tank is too high, so I'm actually going to look into trying to get either a nice fan to help kind of cool the tank. It's pretty hot here in the summer. I live in Florida, so it's pretty hot and sticky, and it's already starting to get that way. So the tank kind of holds steady at about 78 to 80 degrees, which is a little bit too hot for cherry shrimp and also the tiger shrimp especially. So I'm going to try to cool that down and see what happens. It's also kind of difficult because I have the T5 lighting, which is, produces a decent amount of heat. But if I can get it down to about 75, I think everybody will be happy. That's kind of the lower end for the hatchet fish, but then a better range for the tiger shrimp and the cherry shrimp as well. So hopefully if I get it to that point, everybody will at least be pretty happy. So I'm going to go over some of the plants and kind of what I'm doing with this tank. So initially I tested the pH and kind of the parameters of this tank, and somehow the pH of this tank was like through the roof. It was probably about 8. I don't know how. I couldn't really find anything conclusive on my forum searches and online searches about why a dirted tank would have such a high pH. Since then, through a lot of water changes, I've gotten it down to be probably about 7.5, somewhere in that range. But to try to help soften, the water was also incredibly hard. I mean, way harder than my tap water. I guess that maybe as a result of maybe some of the properties of the dirt that I used. But I've added Indian almond leaves, which you can see. Got a big one over here. And I also have some baby shrimp on that too. I had a pregnant cherry shrimp, and she gave birth probably a couple weeks ago, and I see some babies on there occasionally feeding on some of the stuff on the leaf. So I added the Indian almond leaves, and I also added some peat to the filters, hoping that would kind of soften the water a little bit, and it has. I think my general hardiness, I think I tested it at one point, it was about 15. It's now down to about 6. So that's a much better range, I think, for the shrimp especially. They've kind of lowered the GH and the KH down to where they're, at most, they're kind of medium or towards the softer end, which is kind of what I want. It's good for the hatchet fish too. So some of the plants, so I have this giant Radican swords. This is a marble queen variety. I got it at a local pet store, and I've always wanted to grow one of these, and I've never been able to do it. But this plant seems to be really enjoying the highlight and all the nutrients that the dirt provides. So it's doing pretty well. Underneath it, see if I can kind of move the camera. I also have some dwarf Sagittarius oblata. I also have some baby tears on the driftwood. You can kind of see in the center of the frame. It's a little difficult, but I do have some baby tears growing there. I'm going to see if they do any well. I'm not sure. I'm not doing CO2 in this tank because I really don't want to have that extra added thing to worry about along with the shrimp. So I just figured, the light and the dirt, I just want to grow plants fairly well, but if I get algae starting to go crazy, I'll probably tone the lights down a little bit and just combat it that way, because I really don't want to have CO2 in this tank. So on this side, I'm kind of focusing on some other foreground plants that I like. So I have micro sword. I also have some hellfire, which is one of my favorite plants, and I also have not really been able to grow this very well, but it seems to be doing pretty well in this tank. So I'll zoom in here and let you guys see it. It's a pretty cool plant. I got it at PetSmart actually, and if you give it highlight, it will actually kind of stay kind of low and bunched and not get all scraggly. So I'm hoping it starts to fill in a little bit more. It's kind of slower growing, so I'm gonna have to watch it because it will get outcompeted by the dwarf chain sword next to it and some of the other plants in here like the dwarf sag. Also to the left of the hellfire, I have corkscrew val, which is growing really well in this tank, better than any other tank that I have. There's another sword on the left side. I believe it's a variety of Amazon sword I just picked up. I have some jungle val in the back. It's kind of growing slowly, but the leaves are pretty long. They're probably 2 or 3 feet. But I only have one bunch of that right now, but I'm sure that will spread soon. I also have water wisteria in the back, some Rotala indica in the back on both sides. It's growing slower than I thought, but I think it's kind of carpeting out more, and I'm hoping it will kind of grow up starting soon, since it's kind of grown outward so far. So that's really about it. I run 2 canister filters on this tank, and I saw that wasn't really enough, so I've kind of added a water pump with some extra filtration to kind of get the filtration going. I may look to buy a bigger filter at some point because I think I need extra filtration for this tank. It just kind of gets kind of cloudy if I don't really watch it, and you can tell it's a little bit cloudy right now. So that's really about it. In the center of the tank I have a piece of driftwood, 2 pieces actually. The one you see is the more prominent one, and then underneath that I have one that I'm trying to sink, so I'm weighing it down with rocks. I'm trying to see if I can get that to get waterlogged. So that's really it for this video, guys. If you have any questions about this tank, please let me know. I'm going to try to update some of my other tanks soon. I have some news. I have the McMastery tank has more fry now, so maybe I'll bring a video this week or next week about that tank. And that's really about it. So I'm also looking to get some royal blue tiger shrimp in this tank next week. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully it goes well. I know I need to take out my tangerine tiger shrimp to put the blue tigers in. But once that happens, I'll probably update this tank again and show you guys what those shrimp look like and kind of take you through how I'm planning on trying to get those guys to breed. So thanks for watching, and any questions or video ideas, let me know. And until next time, guys, thanks.